Hey world, it's being really come back with another video. Family, I want to come back with this video here. And by the way, family, thanks for subscribing and watching the videos. Tonight, if you can, join me tonight, guys. I'm going to go live on a finance video. There have been some things happening right now with the economy and with the bond market that people are not talking about, and certain indicators right now that are pretty prevalent that for people that are paying themselves first and are conscious of the fact that we've been in a boom market for over 10 years and it's time for this economy to reset itself, because remember, the economy is based on a fiat system, which means, there is nothing tangible behind the money but your energy and your faith that the paper created has value. You dig? This isn't a situation where, people have gold in the banks, where we're on a gold standard, where your $100,000 is equivalent to $100,000 worth of gold that the banks have in depositories to lend out the paper. Okay, there's no gold in the banks, so the only thing that the bank has is phony money and interest rates. Okay, and so I'm gonna come back tonight, family, to kind of discuss in layman's term what the bond market is and how the inverted yield curve that we have right now is actually a serious indicator that, and what I mean by serious indicator, I mean based on the past economic recessions and pullbacks. There's been inverted curves, and I'm explaining what that means tonight when I go live, as well as talk about the bond market. And also, if you haven't heard, there are Sears, I think, is closing 28 stores, and I think Target is closing another 10 stores. I'm gonna go back and do my research, but I know for a fact Sears is closing like 28 stores. So, I mean, this economy that's supposed to be so one of the best economies of all time, you got to read between the lines, because how is it the best economy of all times, right? If companies that are like staples of America, Sears and Target, I mean, come on. You have 28 stores closing. Think about how many jobs it is. And so when you talk about the employment rate and whatnot, we got to look at things from a macro standpoint, okay? So I want to come back and I'm going to talk about that tonight. Like I said, again, I'm talking about the inverted curve and the bond market and what that basically means in layman's terms, because as people that are paying yourself first and understanding that in order for you to increase your financial wealth and increase your financial net worth, it's not going to happen by just saving money, putting it in the bank, okay? Because I'm also going to really talk about how the banking system actually works, because I think a lot of people don't really know how the banking system works. And so I'm going to talk about that tonight too. So join me live tonight, family. And the last thing, family, I think lastly I want to say, I think there was a particular reason why gangster rap was created, right? Someone that's 50, be 51 years old this year, I've seen a drastic decline in the respect for old school or the elders, all right? Because remember, as a youngster, who do you get your knowledge from? I mean, and who do you get your wisdom from? Those that are older than you, that's done been through it already, okay? Or that acquired wisdom and knowledge from their elders. I think gangster rap was created to have our young, especially Afro-melanated men, because see, other ethnicities have a historical foundation or background that they can, that when they get older, even if as youngsters they're not exposed to it, but when they get older, they understand, okay, hey, we have a background, we have a country, we have ideologies, historical ideologies that they can actually relate to, right? But when you talk about Afro-melanated males here in America, because we've been here so long, where is that historical foundation? Because unless you more intellectually inclined, you're not going to be able to go back before quote unquote slavery. You dig? And so the North American Afro-melanated man, he has to be able to go back before slavery to establish some type of identity that is, you know, what not say worthy, but, you know, something you be proud of, you know, because see, they talk about us being kings, but do you really honestly believe that if you don't have any historical analysis? And that's why I say it's important to, you know, listen to the elders, you know, and the people with wisdom. It doesn't happen as much today because of the influx. And I'm saying from the 80s all the way up, you know, like when rap came into play, youngsters don't really appreciate a historical analysis about, you know, the mindset of us, you know, prior to slavery. It's like, well, I'm not a slave, I'm this and I'm that. But I think that has to be some type of breakthrough, right? But it was done on purpose. I mean, think about this: gangster rap, and think about who that influences mostly. It influences our young males mostly because they normally see our young males, you know, performing it. To me, that's a disconnect. And youngsters, don't get it twisted. I listened to gangster rap back in the day, but we also had a combination of conscious rap. Okay, you know, Boogie Down Productions, KRS-One, you know, the Jungle Brothers, De La Soul, okay, you know, Eric B. Rakim, you know, so it's like we didn't just have gangster rap. There was a conscious rap element to it where guys like myself, yeah, we were dibbling and dabbling in gangster rap, but we would flip over here to this consciousness because they were speaking of knowledge and history that I had never been exposed to that embraced me. You dig? But those, they don't exist no more. All right? And so I just, like I said, I definitely think that attributes to a lack of respect for elders and guys with wisdom, because that attributes to a lot of young males being arrested because not understanding the history of America. When the cop pulls you over, not understanding that, hey, there's a certain behavior pattern that if you don't project, then of course you know what happens to us. And so youngsters who don't listen to the elders, a lot of times get caught up. All right. So I just want to come with a little food for thought. Join me tonight, fam. I'm gonna be coming with some finance information, some bond market information, some inverted yield curve information, and why this economy is really basically ready to be reset. Remember, the Federal Reserve is the driving force to this economy. All right. You have a monetary policy and you have a fiscal policy, and they both are in coordination with the Federal Reserve and government, or the U.S. Treasury. So pay yourself first, family. Join me tonight. And in the meantime, between time, may the Most High inside to bring you joy. And being well is out of 5,000.